Again, amazing traders, and welcome back. Today we are going to be looking at something very interesting, the midnight opening range. But before we begin, I want to show you something. Always make sure that your chart or your trading view is set to New York time, okay? By so doing, it means you have to press and hold the time frame right to the bottom of your screen, and you are going to see this option pop up. Then you see time zone over here, or click on time zone and you scroll right down. Make sure that your trading view is set to UTC -5 New York, okay? It has to be checked, okay? UTC -5 New York. By so doing, it means that your trading view is connected to or whatever it is that is happening in New York, okay? Because the market actually runs on New York time. Please, I insist on this. Another way you can do it is you can simply just come to settings. You can go to settings, and then you come to more settings. You come to symbol. At the top of your screen here, you see symbols. You scroll right down. You are going to see your time zone, UTC -5 New York, okay? That's UTC -5 New York. You can still make sure that your trading view is on UTC -5 New York, okay, so that you are not left behind or you are in front. If your chart is not set on UTC -5, or sometimes it's going to be UTC -4, you are going to have a very different information from the rest of the world. I hope you do that right away so that you can follow along with everything that we are doing. And another thing is, I just want to take our time again to thank a lot of you who are following, who have been watching my videos. Thank you so very much. This is the video. We are currently at 86 subscribers. All I can plead with you is make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you are sharing the videos, make sure that you are liking, so that we can grow this community, okay? I am dedicated to giving you a lot of information here, but I just plead with you that you should assist me so that we can grow this channel. So when you come here, this is the playlist that I have here. I recommend that you follow along with the Smart Money Concept for Beginner playlist. You can start from the first videos so that you'll be able to understand where we stand now or where we started from. So thank you so very much for following along, and thank you so very much for always watching. All right, let's go back to the chart, and I'm going to show you something. Now, before we begin, I am going to be looking at pound dollar, okay, for Friday the 28th of February 2025. I want to take your attention to the 4 hours time frame. I will show you some key levels so that when we drop to the lower time frame, you'll be able to understand what I am going to show you. Now, please pay attention to this guy here. This is a 4-hour bullish order block, okay? This one here. Extend that across. You see what I've done? We extend that across, okay? Or maybe I should change this color so that you can see well. Let me use this color like so. Good. That's a 4-hour bullish order block, okay? Pay attention to that because you are going to be doing a lot of stuff there. And if you look at this candle right here, where I put this line, pay attention to that, okay? This week here is considered as a void. The algorithm refers to weeks as gaps, okay? So we are going to pay attention to this one also, and we are going to mark the midpoints. When you mark this gap like so, you will realize that price actually hit the midpoint of that gap, which is also called the consequent encroachment. So the algorithm regards weeks as what? As gaps. And the midpoint of a week is also the same as the midpoint of a gap, a fair value gap, for example, also called a consequent encroachment. So we are going to be looking at the midnight opening range, okay? Let me drop to the 1 minute time frame. To get this range, you have to be trading on the 1 minute time frame. So I am going to be showing you how the highs and the lows of the days are formed. So we are currently looking at pound dollar on a 1 minute time frame, okay? 1 minute time frame. So what we are going to do is the midnight opening range is simply a time frame from midnight to midnight 30, meaning it is just a 30-minute time frame, okay? Just 30-minute time frame. When the market opens at midnight New York time, which is 00 hours, you are going to put a vertical line there, like so, and then you are going to wait 30 minutes after. Okay, you are going to wait 30 minutes after, and you are going to put another vertical line at what, 12:30, okay, which is midnight New York time. I hope you get that. Now, there are three things that you have to pay attention to. You have to pay attention to the high that was formed during that range, which is going to give you the midnight opening range high, like so. You can extend that across, and then you are going to pay attention equally to the low that was formed, which is going to give you what, the midnight opening range low, like so. Okay, make sure that you pay attention to that. Now, the next thing that you are going to pay attention to is what, the midnight opening price, which is the IPTA through day open. Okay, I hope you have been doing that already if you have been following along too. And then the last thing that you have to pay attention to is what, the first fair value gap that forms inside this range from midnight to midnight 30. It is called the first presented fair value gap. But now, two things are involved. If you have two fair value gaps within this range, and one fair value gap is larger than the other one, you are going to use the one that is larger. Okay, so if we look here, we are going to see that this fair value gap here is larger than this one. I simply mean the high of this, the low of this candle here, and the high of this other candle. Okay, the space between the two of them is what we call a fair value gap. And again, we have in between them what, a volume imbalance. This is a level where there is absolutely no price delivery here. Okay, these candles do not touch each other, so this becomes a volume imbalance. So what we are going to do is we are going to take the low of this candle over here and the high of this candle. We are going to incorporate what, the volume imbalance. If you are marking a fair value gap and there's a volume imbalance there, you have to mark the volume imbalance according to the founder of the smart money concept, Michael J. Hudson. You have to incorporate that. So you mark it like so. Okay, and we are going to calibrate it. Just stick along and I'm going to show you what we are going to do exactly. Now, what is the significance of the midnight opening range? Now, if price is going to go lower, how far can it go lower for that day? If price is going to go higher, how far can it go higher on that day? Okay, now the next thing that we are going to do is to get the high and the low of the day. We are going to take our Fibonacci tool and you are going to anchor to the high of that range and the low of that range. Okay, like so. And then you will start running your standard deviations lower, okay, and higher to see how far the market went down and how far the market went up and why. Now, let us start. Let us see how the low of the day was formed on Friday. We are going to go to the Fibonacci tool settings and we are going to start running negative standard deviation 1, 2, 3 right to till we get the low. Okay, so for the sake of time, I'm going to go straight to negative 3.5 and then negative 4 and then watch what happens on Friday. Okay, let us go up to the 5-minute time frame so that I can show you exactly what happens. Okay, now watch. You will bear with me that the market actually traded into the 4-hour bullish order block. You remember this this orange box, right? Let's go back to the 4-hour time frame. You remember that this is the bullish order block that I showed you before we started the video. This guy right here, this bullish order block. Okay, this is the line that I extended right across. So I'm going to just go to the 5-minute time frame so that I show you what I want to show you exactly. Now, you see how price traded into that bullish order block, right? You see that? Now, this is the low that was formed on Friday right here. Okay, right here. Now study what I am going to do right away. This is our Fibonacci tool or extension that we did lower. You see the market went down in between negative 3.5 and negative 4 standard deviation, and you will bear with me that negative 4 standard deviation is actually the midpoint of this bullish order block, this 4 hours bullish order block, which is called the mean threshold. Okay, you see that? Very, very accurate. Okay, now let us take the midpoint of negative 4 standard deviation and negative 3.5 standard deviation, and we are going to extend that across, and you will see what I am going to show you. Okay, just watch, please. Look at what I am going to do. This is very technical. Okay, this is just to prove to you that price is actually very controlled. Look at something. I'm going to extend this to the right so that I will show you exactly what happened on Friday and why price tends from there. Now watch. This is the midpoint between negative 3.5 and negative 4 right here. You see, look at something here. This is it here. Okay, and that is where the low of the day was formed on Friday. You see that? So these things are not random. Okay, and you will bear with me that the market opened again. The market is currently opened and reacted to that same level, which is actually the midpoint between negative 3.5 and negative 4 standard deviation, and that is where the low of the day was formed on Friday inside a 4-hour bullish order block. And if we even have to go further and we measure this 4 hours bullish order block, you are going to bear with me that we are possibly going to be reacting to the upper quadrant of that 4-hour bullish order block. Let us do this one here. I'm going to do this one and this one, okay, so that you will bear with me. Now study this level here, 75% here. This is the upper quadrant of that 4-hour bullish order block. You see how the bodies of that candle stay at the upper quadrant of that 4-hour bullish order block. And let me do this one here and remove this guy, and then I'm going to change the color to a different thing. Background color I am going to change to deep orange so that you can see what I'm saying. Look at something here. I'm going to extend that across. You see how the body of this candle on Friday stayed right at the upper quadrant of this 4-hour bullish order block, and then it took up from there. Okay, I hope you get that. I know it's very complex, but just follow along. I am going to show you something. Now let us see how far the market went higher on Friday and why it actually went higher. Now let us run our FIP again, and we are going to anchor to the low of the midnight opening range and the high of the midnight opening range. Okay, and we are going to extend again our FIP higher and see how far the market actually went higher on Friday. Remember this level right over here, this level, the consequent encroachment of that 4-hour rejection block, or that 4-hour wick, which is actually considered as what, as an imbalance or a fair value gap. So let us do -6 and then -6.5 so that we can see how far the market went higher. Good. Now study something. You see -6.5. This is -6.5, right? Which is actually the midpoint of that 4-hour wick, right? You see that? You see that? The consequent encroachment of that 4-hour wick. You see that? You see how it hits beautifully? Study that. Okay, if in case you forgot, you can go to the 4-hour time frame. You see that -6.5 standard deviation, it hits here beautifully, and that -6.5 standard deviation also corresponds with what, the 15-minute fair value gap that we saw here. Okay, this 15-minute fair value gap, you see how price traded higher and then stayed at -6.5 standard deviation before it went lower. So price action is actually controlled and it is not random. So the best thing that you can do is you can start doing like you can run all the FIPs. Okay, you can do negative let's try -2, -1, -0.5, -1.5, -4.5, negative, like so. Okay, you can just test all of this and then you try to see why did price even turn from here. Okay, see this level right here, this level right here is in between -3.5 and -4 standard deviation. Look to the left of my screen right here. You see that negative 3.5 and negative 4. See how the market hits that level beautifully and stays there. And the question is, why did price even stay there? There's a fair value gap just to the left right here. See that? See this guy right here. There's a fair value gap here, okay? This fair value gap, it falls at what? In between negative 3.5 and negative 4, and that is why you see price stay there. So it is not random, traders. It is not random. Price action is not random, okay? If you even have to look at all of these levels, even this one down here, if you want to look at why price even stayed right down here, if you do all of this one also, negative 0.5, negative 1, negative 1.5, negative 2.5, you are going to realize that there is actually a reason why price does what it does. It is not random, okay? Look at this level right here. This level right here is actually in between negative 1 and negative 1.5 right here, okay? If you look at the bodies of this candle here, it stays exactly at what? Negative 1. You see that? So price action is not random, and it went right down to negative 1.5, okay? You see? So this is actually measured. Look at this level right here. You see that? See how price stays here, okay? Look at this other level. See how price respects this level, okay? So these things are not random. They are very complex, but trust me, if it is something that you can spend time to go over it, I bet you it's actually going to help you, okay? It's actually going to help you. Okay, now let us do something interesting here. I think I am going to go back to the 1 minute time frame, and we are actually going to look at the first presented fair value gap and how the algorithm used it as well. Now, when you see this first presented fair value gap or a first presented displacement, what you are also going to do is that you are going to divide it into quadrants, okay? And then you are going to study how price is going to react into it. So you are going to measure the high of that first presented displacement or first presented fair value gap, and you are going to split it into quadrants, into 4 quadrants actually. So I am going to do this, and I will go to my Fibonacci tool. I am going to actually toggle off all of this. I'll toggle off all of this, and I'm going to put negative 2.5 and 75, which is actually the upper quadrant and the lower quadrant. And I'm going to extend this right to the, I'll extend right, and then you just study it, okay? Study it and see how price reacts to all of that level, okay? Look at the high, look at how price stays, respects the high. Look at how it respects the consequent encroachment here. See the consequent encroachment, see the low, see how price comes back, respects the consequent encroachment, the lower quadrant. Let's go again. You are going to see how many times price reacted to this first presented fair value gap. You see that? Or first presented displacement. See how price comes back there, respects the consequent encroachment, goes back to the lower quadrant, upper quadrant over here. You see that? So these things can help you traders, okay? It's very complex, but what if you know all of this? See how the market comes back, price respects that first presented displacement with confluence with what the midnight opening price. You see how many times price reacts to that first presented displacement. Let's go again. You see how the market comes back to that first presented displacement and then respects that level, trades there multiple times, okay? Breaks lower, comes back, uses it as an inversion fair value gap, one inversion first presented displacement, okay? Bearish order block, it trades back to the high and then drops lower and then goes down to the low of the day. So if you even study, it is possible that when the market comes back again, it's going to respect it. You see how the market opens again today, respect the midnight opening price, trades higher, uses the high of this first presented displacement of last week, and then uses it to trade higher. As I said before, the market is currently open. You see how we use that again. And then where did the market go back to? The market went back to the 5 minute fair value gap that was formed at what? At negative 3.5 and negative 4, okay? Fair value gap that was formed here, this extension here. You see how price comes back there and respects that level again today that the market is opened, you see. So this is just to prove to you that price action is not actually random, okay. Price action is simply controlled and it is measured. And if you still want to go further, you can also run your fips down, okay. You can run your fips down on this first presented displacement, and then you are going to still see how price respects those levels. I know this video is already complex, but just bear with me. This video is already complex. Just give me 1 minute. You can also do negative 0.5, negative 2, negative 1, okay, on this first presented displacement, higher and lower, and you see how many times the market respected those levels. You see how many times the market respected those levels. You see that? You see the bodies of this candle staying here, okay. If you even go right further, you will still see how many times the market respected all of those levels. See this low, see this one, see this one. So price action is not random, please. You see how many times the market came back there and then respected all of those levels. You see that? See this level here, see, you see. So hopefully you are going to learn something here. I know it is complex, but trust me, it's going to make sense someday, okay. So thank you so very much, and if you have any questions, make sure you ask, and then I'll be able to answer you. Okay, thank you so very much, and stay blessed. Goodbye.